Today I'm going to show you how to do poached and roasted breast of chicken. We're going to do some crushed new potatoes and a thyme beurre blanc, which is like a thyme butter sauce, which I haven't made for quite a long time.
Yeah, all the classics.
Yeah. Right, we've got a whole chicken here, fresh one if you can. And what we're going to do quickly is just nip off the wings and the legs. Nice sharp knife. If you get a nice sharp knife, you don't have to do too much to it. See, just work your way through the knuckle.
Yeah, you want to
like that.
go through the joint, don't you?
Yeah. Just pop it open and it'll just go straight through. No problems. And then, nice little trick. Before you take the legs off, just pull down on the top and pull the skin down towards the main breast. And what that does is it gives you a little bit of extra thick skin to cover the chicken breast. I think a lot of times you find if people cook chicken in the pans and it kind of the skin shrivels up and leaves off the bare flesh, which is I'll avoid. So the little trick is if you just pull down the skin like so.
Yeah, you want to leave as much skin on the crown as you can, right?
Gently with the sharp knife, just pull it open like that, and then that'll give you a nice flap of skin that will cover the whole breast. If you can see there, and this is not very nice to look at, I know, but you've got a big flap of skin, and you might think that's too much, but when you poach that, it's going to shrink up, and it should still be enough to cover the flesh of the chicken breast. So I've got the two legs here opened out, and what I'm going to do is, you see just where my thumbs are, I'm just going to pop open the joint. Lovely, see that? Yeah, beautiful. And then flip it upside down and just run the knife through the joint hole, and that'll take off. That gives you a leg. And then quickly.
It's like very basic poultry butchery, isn't it?
Yeah. So just pop it. It won't take any force at all. You can hear the joint come apart. Turn it upside down. That gives you maximum waste on the meat, and then just nicely through. I'm not putting no weight on that at all. And then that gives you what is essentially a crown with a little bit of the backbone on there.
So yeah, we call that a crown of chicken.
So you've still got plenty of meat and plenty of skin, and that gives you two legs. So you can use those for chicken stock, you can braise them, lots of different things. We have a different YouTube video to go to if you want to make chicken stock. I'm not going to show you how to do that today. I'm going to show you how to poach the chicken crowns today. Okay. Crown, you want to get rid of the backbone. So what you want to do is just run your knife a little bit in there. You bring this up and you're just going to snap it essentially. Okay. You can rip it. You can see that's just come apart there. And then just get your knife and just go through. Just like that. And that is again, you can put that in your stock and use that for another part. And then this gives you your crown. Now it resembles probably something that you can think, all right, that's a chicken breast. So essentially that's two chicken breasts on the back, still on the backbone. We're going to take out the wishbone. Runs down the side of both sides of the breast. Bit of a messy job, and you just need to hope it's not broken, which this one feels like it is. Just down the side of the bone, all the way to the bottom, and pop it out. And you can see there, the wishbone is just in there. You see that? That's the wishbone. Okay, and that's just going to go. You can use that for your stock, and then that's that basically. So that's ready to poach. I'm just going to use my. I'll just prepare my cooking liquor now. Cut an onion into quarters, and we're going to use half a clove of garlic and a little bit of rosemary. Pinch of salt in there as well. I'm just going to slowly lower this in and just make sure it's submerged. The most important part is the top side is facing the bottom, and you want to poach this for about 14 minutes. Going to bring it up to the boil. As soon as it starts to simmer, you want to turn it down so it's just ticking over and nice and hot. Okay.
Timer's on.
Okay. So it's we'll come back to this in about 14 minutes time. Okay, next, nice and simple, I'm going to show you how to do crushed potatoes. So in the pan, we've got just a little bit of water, a good pinch of salt, and just some new potatoes. We're going to bring those up to the boil and not overcook them, but cook them just enough. Basically what we want to do is let them cool down, and we want to crush them with the back of a fork, so they're nice and broken down. So you want them a little bit more cooked than you would usually. We're going to add a little bit of vinaigrette to those, and they're going to be the main part of the dish underneath the chicken, okay? While we're waiting for those to cook, we're gonna start the prep for the butter sauce. Traditional. Nice and fine. So this will cook out into the sauce and then you won't even know it's there, to be honest. And in there as well, I'm gonna do a little bit of rosemary. 3 or 4 sprigs there. I'm gonna keep them nice and whole so I can pick them out at the end, which is important.
So they're just going to flavour. You're not going to eat them. They're just gonna, the aroma from the rosemary is going to go into the sauce base, right?
Yep. And then same with the garlic. I'll put 2 cloves of garlic in there. Keep them nice and big so you can pick them out. Za'atar, so we're going to put that in there as well. A few sprigs along with the rosemary. We'll put a tiny touch of lemon juice into the beurre blanc as well. All right, so we've got the chicken on. Potatoes are cooking. As soon as the potatoes cooked, I'm going to get the lemon butter sauce on. The chicken's been in about 14 minutes. And then what we're going to do is gently, with your spoon, carefully tip it upside down. And as it comes upside down, lift it out. Obviously this is very hot, so you need to be careful. And then just lift it out, skin side up, and let that cool down. A little bit of oil in there. You don't want too much because that's not going to disappear. It's quite important. If you put too much oil in at the beginning, you'll see it floating on the top at the end. So always be very careful with the oil, right? You want a hot pan, you don't want it smoking hot, but nice enough. And we're just going to soften up the onions and soften up the herbs. Our onions, our thyme and garlic and za'atar and rosemary. Yeah, you don't want this raging hot, you just want it nice. You just want to gently soften up the onions.
Smells amazing. Yeah. Can't never get bored of that smell.
30 seconds. What we're going to do now is get our vinegar and add the vinegar. Now, if you've got a cold and you want to deglaze your nose or clarify your nose, stick your nose in there. That doesn't make sense.
Deglaze your nose.
Sometimes I'll start a sentence and I don't even know where it's going. I just hope I find it along the way.
If you haven't got hard herbs, you want to add soft herbs as well. This is a base to go from with whatever you want. You want to make a basic blanc beurre noisette. Is that right? The flavours there, you want to add basil, you want to add coriander, you want to add lemon,
beurre blanc base?
Yes. Yeah, beurre blanc base.
Right, okay.
Basic beurre blanc base, right?
Yeah, your shallots, your vinegar, and then
your stock and your cream.
Yeah.
Then after that, you add whatever you want, and it gives you, a blank canvas to a blanc blanc.
Beurre blanc canvas.
Yeah.
No! God, please, no! 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 No!
You don't want to rush because if you add the stock now before the vinegar's evaporated, then you're going to get a really vinegary sauce. But this gives it a nice acidity. It really cuts through the cream and it really brings out the flavour. It makes such a difference.
It's a rich sauce, isn't it? You need the acid in there to cut.
Yes.
It's cream and butter, so you've got double butter.
I find these are always kind of the little tricks that make it from home cooking and it elevates it a little bit more. If you've got a nice Chardonnay vinegar or something, a good quality vinegar, get it in there and it'll really make a difference to the sauce.
Yeah, and even finishing with a drop at the end as well. Just a drop helps lift it.
Yeah, it does, big time. You can still see there's still vinegar in there. Tip it up to the side. That's almost dry. And then what we're going to do now is add the stock. You want to keep the heat going in this. Now we've had our stock in there for about 3 minutes. And you can see it's almost gone. It's a little bit in there. It's almost syrupy, which is where you want it. And as soon as you get it like that, I'm going to add the same amount of cream. And then we're just going to stir that through. And that's the base for your beurre blanc. Pinch of salt to that as well. So we're going to put that on for a couple more minutes just to simmer over. And while we're doing that, I'll show you how to take the breast off the chicken. So you can see where we've taken out the wishbone. Nice and simple. Use your finger to find where the backbone is. And when basically you want to get your knife and just run it. Make one cut. Nice incision. Almost ease it off with a knife. Okay, use the weight of the knife and just ease it off. That's one breast. It's a little bit pink there, but you're going to cook it again in the pan, so it's almost perfect. you've got a nice clean line of the chicken around there. It's all covered in skin. If there's any little flaps of skin, just nip them off with a knife. There's enough fat there to cover it, to protect it when you put it in the pan. You can see now that's thickened up. Lift out these big herbs. Just get them out of the way. You don't want to be chewing on a big piece of a big stalk of rosemary.
They've done their job, haven't they? They've just released the flavour into the sauce.
Crushed potatoes cooked through, and what we're going to do is just gently, you can see how soft they are. Nice and soft, just roughly.
That is a crushed potato.
It is indeed. We'll just use the back of the spoon when they're in the pan just to smash them up a little bit more. Good pinch of salt in there. Magic vinaigrette, which is 5 parts oil, 1 part vinegar. I'm going to put that in there. Quite liberally, you know, you want the potatoes, they're still a little bit warm, so they're going to absorb that oil and they're going to absorb that vinegar. Now I'm going to show you how to cook the chicken breasts. We've got pan on, quite hot, okay. I'm going to put, first things first, chicken breast. You can see it's a little bit shiny. You want to be careful, just pat it to remove any excess moisture from the poaching, because, you know, if you don't know, fat and liquids tend not to mix, especially in a hot pan, so it's going to spit, and you want to try and prevent that as much as you can. So a little bit of salt. I'm going to season the top just before it goes in the pan. That's obviously going to help the seasoning, but it also will help the skin crisping up. The underside is still wet, just a little bit of salt in there as well. I'm going to lay this down into the edge of the pan. Oops. Into the edge of the pan. You know, this probably will spit at you, so you just got to be a little bit careful. But you need a hot pan initially, and just quickly turn it over to check. But that's been in there for about 1.5 minutes, nice high heat. And what we want to do, slowly just turn it over. Be careful not to burn yourself. You can see you've got a nice golden brown crispy skin. And then what we're going to do is fold that over on this side and cook the other side. Baste it with a little bit of oil. And you want to leave this now just for the heat to go right through the chicken and warm it through. You don't want to heat this too high, otherwise the chicken's going to become dry. So whilst the chicken's resting in the pan, we can finish the butter sauce. First off, on the plate, we're going to get our crushed potatoes. Put this round. Press it into a ring. If you haven't got a ring at home, don't worry about it. We're heating up the cream. You can see the steam start to come out of the cream, and that's when you want to add your butter. So we've just got about 25 grams in there, and that's just going to finish the sauce. You've got your shallots in there. Pick some fresh thyme in there. A good way to pick fresh thyme quickly is if you pick off the tips on the end, hold it this way, and just strip it. Just strip it that way in, and then that way you might get some little stalks, but they're very edible. Got a good stir. So normally I cut it into like 5 or 6, but just because you're at home, you get the heel of your knife, and you can get a nice crispy skin. Just gently get through the middle, and then use the knife, not putting any weight on. You're going to cut through like that. Nice poached and roasted. On. Spoon around the thyme beurre blanc. There you go. Poached and roasted breast of chicken with crushed potatoes and a thyme beurre blanc.